Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mark Boyle.
And I'm Jenna Browder. Tonight we begin with our top story. 13 people are confirmed dead and several others reported injured in a shooting that happened this morning at a naval yard in Washington.
Now, one gunman has been identified as 34-year-old Aaron Alexis, a former naval officer. Danielle Nottingham joins us live with more.
Officials don't know a motive yet, and the FBI is asking the public for information about the alleged shooter. This area remains on lockdown as police and federal agents work to clear a chaotic scene. Live in Washington, Danielle Nottingham. Now back to you.
Well, thanks for joining us. We have breaking news this afternoon. The reports of a shot fired in a bathroom at Carroll Junior High School. And we have this confirmed by Monroe Police. And also our Nolan Crane is live right now outside of the Monroe City School Board. And he has the latest from the superintendent of Monroe City Schools. Nolan, let us know what's going on right now.
That's right, April. A press conference just wrapped up where we heard from Sergeant Mark Johnson with the Monroe Police Department, as well as Monroe's superintendent, and they do confirm that a shot was fired inside the bathroom a little after 9:30 this morning at Junior Carroll High School, and they're doing all that they can to try to notify their parents and the staff, and they say that the school is still going on. And joining us now is the superintendent. And why did you guys make the decision to keep school open and keep the students there?
After we spoke to the police department told us they didn't believe there was any further danger in the school. The school was on lockdown. We released the school from lockdown and moved to a school operations. We contacted the parents through our phone systems, notifying the parents in the phone system. But that's the process that we took.
And then when was the last time we've had an incident like this occur at one of the schools while you've been superintendent? And what are you doing to try to make sure that this never happens again?
I do not recall a situation Monroe City Schools happened. I think it's probably been anywhere of upwards of 12, 14 years ago, the last time an incident with a gun took place in the school here in Monroe City Schools that I can recall.
And then school's going as usual, I guess, despite the incident. And
yes, school is back to operations. Students are back in class and working on a normal school day.
There you go. Thank you so much, Superintendent, for joining us. And we'll continue to have the latest coming up tonight at 5 and 6 o'clock on KNOE and on KNOE.com. We're going to go over to the school and see if we can get some of the reactions from people who may have seen and heard the shot fired. Live in Monroe, Nolan Crane, KNOE 8 News. April, back to you.
Now, Louisiana's best cast, live in high definition. This is KNOE 8 News, your breaking news and weather authority.
Grades are in for Louisiana Public Schools. How does your child's school district fare?
Plus a plea for help. Tonight, Grambling State University is asking for money donations.
And what the mayor of a Union Parish town is looking to do with a shut-down school.
Right now, from your breaking news and weather authority, this is KNOE 8 News live at 5.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mark Boyle.
And I'm Jenna Browder. In our top story tonight, making the grade. How well does your son or daughter's school rate? It's something all parents have to think about.
Yeah, and you want to think those grades are good. Letter grades released by Louisiana's Department of Education are out for each school district. This year, several schools in our region are failing. We go live now to Jillian Corder, who's at one of those schools this evening. Jill.
That's right. I'm at Carroll Junior High, just one of the 4 failing schools in this parish. Now, 2 of those are Ouachita Parish schools. The other 2 are Monroe City schools. Overall, Ouachita Parish received a B as a district, while Monroe City earned a D. These grades are determined under a new formula. Letter grades are assigned on a simple scale. Scores at or above 100 earn an A, scores below 50 earn an F. Schools in this area that received a failing grade include Shady Grove Elementary, Swayze Elementary, Carroll Junior High School, and Carroll High School. Monroe City Superintendent says the grades in his district didn't come as a surprise.
We can figure SPS scores. Schools know exactly where they are. You know, the scores come out at the end of October, but test scores come out in May, and we can figure them up. We knew where our schools were going to fall, and we put those things in place, and that's what we've done for this school year.
Now, Vidry says these scores will have no immediate effect on the consolidation of any school. Now, that will be brought back up sometime next year. Live in Monroe, Jillian Corder, KNOE 8 News.
Thanks, Jill. If you'd like to see where your school scores, and we didn't list it, you can find a full list of schools and grades on our website at knoe.com. Simply click on the story link and scroll to the bottom.
In other news tonight, a theft at Rayville's Walmart. Police there are looking for two men who they say made off with cash from a cash register.
It happened Wednesday evening between 7:15 and 8:30. Rayville Police Chief Willie Robinson says two identified men came into the store and stole cash from an unattended register. Police aren't telling us how much was taken, but they hope these surveillance images will help catch them. If you have any information, you're asked to call Rayville Police at 318-728-4431. Well, the drama at Grambling State is moving from football to finances.
Yeah, tonight the president of the university is asking alumni, friends, and anyone who's willing to donate money. Frank Pogue announced the fundraising campaign today. Lately, the university's been making national news with its football team. Pogue says the media attention has brought light to some of the school's bigger issues, like its finances. In a statement, Pogue writes, quote, "Over the past 6 years, the university's state appropriation has been drastically reduced from $31.6 million to $13.8 million.
The suspect wanted for his involvement in a Bastrop shooting that took place Monday has turned himself in. Bastrop police say 19-year-old Jaquarius Bennett turned himself in this morning. Elijah Juan Johnson was arrested earlier in the week in connection to this shooting and faces charges of second-degree murder. The victim, who was shot in the stomach, died from his injuries yesterday. Well, budget cuts have caused the Union Parish School District to shutter 2 schools this past July, but now the question, what happens to those old buildings?
As our Hillary Hunt reports, one mayor is making sure a school that closed down goes to good use.
Back here in Monroe, a woman remains in custody after police say she beat her 2 children with a clothes hanger. 28-year-old Sade Shaw was arrested Wednesday afternoon after police were called to help an injured child. Officers noticed a swollen eye on Shaw's 6-year-old daughter, who says her mother hit her for losing her jacket. Police also witnessed scarring on the woman's 8-year-old daughter's body caused by a coat hanger. Shaw faces 2 counts of cruelty to a juvenile.
Well, temperatures may be dropping, but one thing that is not: the threat of the West Nile virus. Ouachita Parish mosquito abatement crews say they're busier than ever. So far this year, Ouachita Parish has had more reported West Nile cases than any other parish in Louisiana. Out of 51 cases statewide, 20 have been in Ouachita Parish. And more street sprayings are in the works. Mosquito abatement says to cover the cost, it's had to move around some funds. It's transferred money from the Emergency Disease Control Fund into the 2013 operating budget. The street sprays are being done every other week in neighborhoods where the West Nile virus has been found.
Well, students receiving financial aid at Delta Community College are the latest victims of the government shutdown. Delta's administration already expected a delay in funds as a consequence of the merger with Northeast Louisiana Technical College. The delay was only supposed to last until mid-October, but the shutdown has delayed the date that the funds will be available. No one is sure when this issue will be resolved. Although there's no set disbursement date, Hansen says the money should come before the end of the semester.
Next, Ben & Jerry in Monroe. We've got the scoop on what the ice cream moguls are doing at ULM.
Plus, Tom's Weather Authority forecast is coming up. A verdict is finally in for a court case that has been tried over the past 2 weeks. The jury in the trial involving Jonesboro Mayor Leslie Thompson came to the decision early this afternoon. Thompson was charged with 3 felony counts of malfeasance in office.
The jury heard closing arguments and spent about a half hour deliberating. They came back guilty on all 3 charges. Our Nolan Crane has been in the courtroom since day 1 and joins us now. And Nolan, what was the mood in that courtroom when the verdict came in?
There were more than 100 people inside when the decision was announced. All of the benches were filled and it was standing room only. The judge warned everyone not to react when the verdict was read, but that was nearly impossible for people to do in an emotional case like this. When the first guilty count was read, some broke out in tears. Others immediately left in frustration.
What's next for Leslie Thompson, and more so, who takes responsibility as mayor?
That's an interesting question because with the conviction, the mayor is suspended. So therefore, the city council will have to go back and try to determine who they want to step in and fill in. They say it's likely that it'll be the mayor pro tem, Devin Flowers, but that's not for certain, and it has not been confirmed, but they say a decision will be coming soon.
All right, thank you, Nolan. Certainly an interesting situation in Jonesboro. Now turning to some developing news on the local sports scene. Grambling State's head football coach Doug Williams was fired this morning.
Sports director Aaron Dietrich joins us now. And Aaron, one big question is, how will the team react and respond to this? Not only as a quarterback, his son, but it's a team he's built. He's spent a lot of time with this
Yeah,
team.
very strange day over at Grambling. It's not very often that a coach gets fired 2 games into the season, and it rarely happens to a coach who's considered one of the school's all-time greatest players. But that's what happened today as Doug Williams was relieved of his head coaching duties at Grambling. Williams tells KNOE8 Sports no reason was given earlier today, just the university was heading in a different direction. Well, that strength will be tested right now. The team is 5 of their next 6 games are on the road.
And Aaron, one more question for you. They're only 2 games into the season, as you said, and their next games are on the road. What do you think about this timing?
Yeah, the timing is very strange. Usually it happens on a Sunday or Monday, not on a Wednesday. Of course, the team leaves for Friday for Kansas City. So, yeah, the timing is very odd, to say the least.
What happens to his contract now?
That's a great question. They're going to have to buy out his contract, which is about $240,000, which is pretty substantial for a university that, of course, is strapped financially at this point.
Yeah, a lot of money for them to cough up. All right, Aaron, I know you'll have much more on this. Thanks so much for that.
Now to a considerable change of subject. This is a day that Americans and the rest of the world will never forget. It's hard to believe, but it's been 12 years since the attacks on the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and Flight 93.
As several ceremonies are being held here at home in remembrance of the attacks, our Lauren Ryder spoke with local law enforcement and first responders about the anniversary. Certainly a day everybody's remembering those involved that day. Also a day where many firefighters' lives are remembered. One West Monroe family is hosting dinner honoring the ones that we have right here in our own backyard.
Our Hillary Hunt is live at the annual Feed the Firemen in West Monroe. And Hillary, we understand this dinner has been going on since 2002.
That's right, Jenna. I'm live in West Monroe at the fire station on Cypress, where in just a few short hours, like an hour, the whole station will be filled with all the West Monroe firemen for the annual Feed the Firemen, who's put on by the man himself, Don Ashley. And Don is here to join me. And Don, you know, you said you and your wife put this on for, what, 11 years? What drives you to do something like this?
Yeah, Hillary, this is actually our 11th annual Feed the Firemen event. And actually, it's my wife's idea. The year after 9/11, she said, you know what, let's do something for our local heroes. Let's feed the firemen. And I was all for it, so I can't take the credit. It was all her. And this is the 11th year in a row that we've came here to the West Monroe Cypress Street Station. And these guys really appreciate it. But I'm going to tell you, it's not really Michelle and I. All the food is donated by local friends, our family, and also our local businesses.
And Don, how long do you and your wife plan on keeping this up?
Hillary, we're going to do this as long as these guys will let us.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Don. And in just about an hour at 6:30, the dinner will be underway. Preparations, as you can see, are already underway. And don't worry, because at 6 o'clock, we're going to be talking with some of those hungry heroes. So make sure to tune in. Live in West Monroe, Hillary Hunt, KNOE 8 News.
All right, thanks, Hillary. Pretty neat.